Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the main card fights for UFC on ESPN 14, Whittaker versus Till. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the main card. So in our first fight, we have in the women's strawweight division, Carla Esparza versus Marina Rodriguez. So you got the inaugural first women's strawweight champion, former women's strawweight champion, Carla Esparza versus Marina Rodriguez. So looking at this fight right here, Carla Esparza, for me, I feel like she's been kind of plateaued for a long period of time. Like, the division's been getting better. These women have been evolving. It's just that Carla Esparza has been finding a way to use the same, I guess, remain the same, but stick around and find ways to win. Even though a lot of these fights, they could lean the other way. It's like, she's been getting the decision. Like, she could easily have like 2 or 3 losses more. I would say 3 of these wins could be losses. So it's like, it's really been leaning to her in these very close fights. Like I said, like, those fights could easily just been judged the other way. So like, it might look like she's on a winning streak right now, but she could easily be on the same way she's on a 3-fight winning streak. She could easily be on a 3-fight losing streak. That's what I'm saying. But like, she hasn't really shown any real evolution. She's been getting by with the same skill set she has had in the past. Like, her striking not really looking any better. Her wrestling not looking any better. Matter of fact, she's struggling to get some takedowns now. Kind of become more of a hold you down and like not really work. Like, in the past, she would take you down, dominate you, then try to submit you. Now it's more so hugging legs, be just on you, like clamped on you, trying to score points and ride out decisions, and barely even be able to do that. Like, if she could even just take you down, lay on you for like, it's clear it wouldn't even be a controversy. But like, she's laying on people, can't really even hold them down. They're getting back to their feet, out striking her by a little bit, and then she's kind of just throw a little flurry here or there, or get some little cage control here, and just like that little bit of stuff. Or get that one last takedown that she does nothing with after getting rocked on her feet, and then she gets the decision. Like, this fight's been very close. Now going against Marina Rodriguez, very long, great striker for the women's division. Like, she's a problem for anybody striking. She's very long, very dangerous, high output, vicious, violent, and always looking for that kill and always looking to hurt her opponent. Like, she's a very dangerous opponent. But what's make this fight interesting? If Rodriguez had some solid takedown defense, this would be an easy fight to predict. But because her takedown defense and grappling is very questionable, this makes it a interesting fight, because Carla Esparza might not have a hard time taking her down, might not have a hard time controlling her. That might be very well be the outcome of this fight, and could be likely to be the outcome of this fight. But how I'm going to see it is that I feel like Carla Esparza will have a lot of success with her takedowns, but I feel like Rodriguez will be able to get back to her feet. I feel like she'll be able to walk Esparza into knees, into uppercuts, because Esparza will be looking already short, and already looking for a takedown with her head leaning down. Her defense is usually kind of wide for a striker to be like, she's always looking kind of arms wide out because she's looking for a double or a single. So she'll be open for the uppercut, open for knees. I think she'll be able to get some takedowns. I feel like Rodriguez will be able to make her pay every single time. And Esparza's been getting rocked in a lot of these fights as well, but I feel like this is going to be the fight where it's just going to be crack the Campbell's back. Like, she's going to be able to get some takedowns. She's going to have success. Like I said, she's going to get paid, made to pay every time she goes for these shots. It's not going to be like get the takedowns without paying for it. And I feel like over the rounds, she's going to get tired. Then Rodriguez is going to use that long reach, use that volume, use that cardio, and just use her ability to just pick apart Esparza. And Esparza's going to be too far out, getting picked apart with jabs, knees, teeps, to really shoot a clean takedown. I think it's going to be probably a fight where Esparza might be basically how the scoring been going for her. She'll probably be up 2. It might be 1-1 really, but the scoring probably going to be like 2-0 Esparza going to that third round. Then she's going to be tired, shooting in labor, telegraph takedowns. I think Rodriguez is going to start to pick her apart, and I think she puts her out in the first 2 minutes of the third round. So in this fight, I got Marina Rodriguez via third round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the light heavyweight division, Paul Craig versus Gustafsson Antigulov. I'm going to call him Antigulov. And looking at Antigulov versus Paul Craig, I think Paul Craig beats Antigulov in every single way. Like, I've seen the Antigulov fight, and I got him confused with Ankalaev sometimes, but Antigulov is clearly not Ankalaev. I don't think he's striking the cleanest. I think his fight IQ is mediocre. I think he's strong, has some decent grappling, decent power in his punches, but really a fighter that just, I don't know, doesn't really draw any interest, doesn't really seem like any potential or anything. It's like his mind is just not there. He needs a lot of work that he'll probably never have. It's like his mind is just not in place to take him anywhere in the game. Like I said, he be making them poor decisions, poor grappling decisions, poor everywhere. I think Paul Craig has some poor on fight IQ, and sometimes he just go out there and be shook, and sometimes just let people walk him down and knock him out. But I don't think Antigulov even has the power like that. I think Paul Craig's striking is much better. I think his grappling is better. I think Antigulov might be a better wrestler, grappler type. But as far as overall in general wrestling mixed with jiu-jitsu and submissions and MMA grappling. I think Paul Craig is clearly the better fighter, striking clearly the better fighter, the longer fighter, fast fighter, more arsenal. I just think this fight mostly remains standing. I think Antigulov might try to shoot some takedowns, but I think Craig will be able to defend them. Now I think on the ground we have no issue with Antigulov anywhere the fight takes place on the ground. Now I really just think Paul Craig uses his reach, uses height, and uses his technique to just chew apart Antigulov from distance. I think he stops him early in the second. Like he just tags him up in the first round, finds those open, finds that pace, find out where, what Antigulov wanted to do, what he's looking for, what he's open for. And I think in that second round, he just makes him pay for all of it, and just makes him answer to all, and stops him early in that that second round. So in this fight, I got Paul Craig via second round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the heavyweight division, a very interesting matchup, Fabricio Werdum versus Alexander Gustafsson. So the former heavyweight champion of UFC, Strikeforce, and some other organizations, Fabricio Werdum versus Alexander Gustafsson, the long-time guy who can't win the light heavyweight belt. He fought for it twice. No, fought for it like 3 times. He fought John Jones for it once, lost that fight. Fought John Jones for it. Then fought Cormier for it, lost it. Then fought John Jones again and got destroyed. So, but definitely a guy that's been very respected in the sport, especially in the light heavyweight division, especially in title fights, though he always loses them and comes up short. So, look at this fight right here. Werdum looked terrible in his last fight. He should have won that fight. They didn't give it to him, but he did look horrible. Like, he was chunky, and I think he's in his 40s now. I think like 41, 42 or something. He's up there in age now. Even though the heavyweight division is a little bit different. And we gotta wonder, like, he did test positive for some drugs in the past. He did have like a 2-3 year layoff, maybe even longer. And he looked like he had a 2-3 year layoff, and he laid off the drugs as well. Like, he looked soggy, even though he never looked like an impressive specimen. He looked soggy. His cardio wasn't there. Like, he was taking shots he didn't have to take just so he could find openings for takedowns. And then when he had those positions, he couldn't even get a submission. I know Olenek is like definitely a crafty veteran, and he's not no easy person to submit or put away. But Werdum should have been able to do a lot more than he did in those positions. Now I'm going against Gustafsson, who also had like a year or 2 year layoff, maybe 3, because he felt like, I don't know, it wasn't for him anymore. But he's coming up to the heavyweight division. Let's get to the point of this one. Gustafsson's going to be the technical, more on the feet, more technical, faster fighter. I don't know if he's going to bring more power to the heavyweight division now not having cut weight. I think Werdum can definitely present size, but Werdum has never been a strong fighter. He's not a strong fighter. He's a technical fighter, so I don't think strength or size will play too much effect unless Werdum gets him down. When Werdum on the feet, trying to take down wise, not the strongest guy. Trying to put you in the clinch, not the strong guy, unless he got you in a Muay Thai plum. But when he gets on top of you, that's when he becomes a super, super heavyweight. Typically, in that last fight, he was like a regular heavyweight or like a decent sized heavyweight on top. But in the past, when he was on top, he was like a super, super heavyweight. But that's what you got to worry about. But I think Gustafsson's takedown defense is good enough. I think his footwork is much better than probably anything that Werdum has ever seen. Speed, probably much better than anything Werdum has ever seen. Power, not so much. But technically wise, I think Gustafsson's a more technical fighter overall as far as MMA. I think the only real area where Werdum is better is like Muay Thai, and Muay Thai and definitely BJJ. It's not I think. He's definitely better than BJJ. That guy is a several-time world champion and one of the best of all time. Like top 10, I think. So maybe top 20 just to be safe. But yeah, he's up there. But how I see this fight is, I see Gustafsson being too fast, presenting Werdum with too many threats. And Werdum, when he gets frustrated, he gets very sloppy. I think he's going to get put away when he gets sloppy. Because sometimes when he gets sloppy, he starts running chin down, or he just keeps throwing these punches and don't mind his defense. Like, he definitely has an issue of not minding his defense. When he gets too excited, he'll either run at you with his chin up, or he'll just duck down. And one of Gustafsson's best shots is the uppercut. So I think either if he runs in or dips his head down in defense, he's going to get caught with an uppercut. But I see it's like a technical fight. I definitely probably going to fill each other out. Both of them being veterans, and both of them got a name they got to protect. First round be a fill out. Second round be a little more action. But I think Gustafsson, like I said, being the faster, more technical striker, and his takedown defense, keeping the fight on the feet. Let me slow down a little bit. Keeping the fight on the feet. I think by keeping the fight on the feet, that's where Gustafsson will be better. I think he'll be able to outbox Werdum, not with ease, but be clear enough that he's the one out striking Werdum, and he's a better striker, better boxer. Fill out probably second round, they open up a little bit more. Gustafsson's speed and his technique and his sharpness starts to show even more in those rounds. He started landing clean shots, might even tag Werdum, rock him, but not be able to get the finish because Werdum going to go into his shell. Gustafsson's not going to want to take him to the ground because obviously don't want to get anything to do with that. So probably just take some little pot shots and get some points right there. Third round, and they still start to really unload. Werdum starts to get a little bit tired, mouth open, and he starts to dip down, gets caught with uppercut, drop, and finish with ground and pound in that third round. I think around the 3-minute mark. So in this fight, I got Alexander Gustafsson via third round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the welterweight division, Alex Oliveira versus Peter Sobotta. So Peter Sobotta has had an interesting career. He's has ups and his downs. I think his first in the UFC, he lost to Amir Sadal. Some other fights went 0-3. Then went on a little decent stint outside the UFC, came back. I think he might have got punt kicked to the stomach and got by Cal Noak. I think when he first came back, I don't know, it was another fight before then, but either way, he was able to rebound, get some wins, and stick around the UFC. And I think he just fought Leon Edwards last. That was like 2-3 years ago, and I think he hasn't fought since. But whatever case, this guy has had his up and down. He's a pretty technical fighter. He's not like a spectacular fighter, but he's like a fighter that you got to respect him. He has solid technique. He's clean and all that. But it's like he's not stellar in any area. I think he has more intricacies to his striking than Alex Oliveira and more intricacies to his game. But I think overall, Alex Oliveira is still the better striker, still the better grappler. And like Oliveira, not the most intricacies to his game, but it's simple but very effective. That's the whole story about Oliveira. Striking, he got like a big uppercut. He does some big straight shots with a lot of power. Very strong, physically strong, ground and pound. In the past, he was a very tough guy. Even the last fight, he's still tough. It's sometimes in some of these fights, he looked like his toughness was gone, but he's still there. That last fight definitely showed it. But yeah, simple but effective is Oliveira's game. I think on the feet, even though Peter Sobotta, like I said, had a little more intricacies. I think Oliveira's faster. He's good at timing those he has a few arsenal strikes, but he's very good at landing those shots. And I feel like he can tag Sobotta often with that uppercut, often with these straights, maybe mix a hook in there, even though he don't really do those too much. Go to the body, do teeps. Then if he wants to, he can make the fight easier. And I think he'll go for takedowns as well and just secure top positions and like half guards go to his body and just wear Sobotta down. So I really think he's gonna fight a semi-smart fight. I don't think he's gonna go out there and just look for the instant finish. And he's gonna find those big openings, rock Sobotta or get Sobotta going back. Then he's gonna go for takedown, get control. And I think it's gonna be just till the fight until he finds an opening. I think it's gonna be push him back. Land big shots, push Sobotta back. Once he go back, get his back in the cage, level change. Initiate the clinch, level change, go down, pick him up, scoop him up, take him down, control him, land body shots, wear on him, beat the air out of his body. Probably for the first 2 rounds. I'm gonna say first round. Then in the second round, he finds the opening on the feet when I guess Sobotta's more worried about the takedown than that. Get caught in that pace of big shot, get pushed back, takedown, and he's gonna try to defend the takedown. It's gonna be a punch, like probably an uppercut meeting him when he's trying to defend the takedown, and that's gonna knock the knees out of him, and he's gonna get finished with some ground and pound in that second round. So in this fight, I got Alex Oliveira via second round TKO. Now to our co-main event, we have in the light heavyweight division, Mauricio Shogun Rua versus Antonio Rogerio Nougeira 3. And all two of the first 2 matchups are the other 2 matchups. Shogun won, so why are they rematching the third time? I know the first fight was classic, the second fight not so much. It was interesting, but definitely not classic. So why are they having the third match even though Shogun is 2-0 in this trilogy? I guess, I don't know, they want to keep them both around for a little bit, or maybe they want to have one retirement fight. I don't know what it is, or maybe it's like, I don't know, everybody's filled out. I don't really want to fight these younger guys right now. I just want to fight, I don't know, him. We're both, I don't know, in a situation where we're both available, and I don't know, we'll do that matchup again. So I don't know. But either way, they're rematching again, even though it doesn't need to happen. I kind of forget how the first fight went, even though I was talking about how classic it is. I think it was more takedowns, like Shogun was throwing him down, then landing some ground and pound and jumping in his guard and stuff. And there was some interesting striking match, like so like a lot of swinging. Even though I think back then, punch wise, Nougeira was much sharper on that. And so Shogun's doing a lot of winging shots and duck under and get his takedown, little body lock takedowns and jumping in his guard and stuff like that. I think how the first fight was very close, but the takedowns, the stomping, and the jumping in the guard and the activity won Rua the fight. Second fight, Shogun fought a much more technical fight. They both were older, but it was much more technical. Where Shogun was, let me say. Nougeira was like more of like a plodding type striker. Like he doesn't have the best footwork. He moved like Frankenstein, and Shogun just fought from the outside, chewing his leg up and chewing his body up, and not allowing him to get into boxing range. He did get into boxing range and did land some damage, but more so with the Shogun chewing up his body and chewing up his leg outside of boxing range, and Nougeira didn't have the footwork to get in on the inside. And I think that's kind of how this fight played out as well. Like Shogun's not gonna go out there and just go go into boxing range and box with Nougeira because he knows he's the better boxer. It's gonna be like the second fight, attacking legs from outside, mixing in body shots and fighting outside of boxing range. Nougeira's going to try to close that range. I think he obviously is going to land some punches. I don't think it's that Shogun is so much better than him or so fast or this and that. So it's going to be, he's going to get in that boxing range at time, but more so it's going to be Shogun Rua maintaining that kicking distance, like getting back to that kicking distance, and it's going to the leg, to the body, then mixing the overhands and stepping back out and getting back to kicking range. So that's it's really going to be like the second fight all over again. But both guys definitely have seen much better days. So I don't know. It could take one good punch on either guy and the fight could be over. So I'm saying all this, but I think Shogun is right now, he already beat him twice. So what's going to happen? Why not a third time? And he already has a game plan. I don't think it's going to, what better game plan can he do? And it's very effective against a slow plotting slow plotting boxer. So, and their jiu-jitsu pretty much, Nougeira's jiu-jitsu is better than Shogun Rua's jiu-jitsu, but Shogun can definitely neutralize, pretty much make it neutralize, so it's really not even relevant. And Nougeira don't have the best takedown offense either. So, like I said, I'm dragging it, but basically, Shogun's going to do what he did the second fight, keep it at kicking range for a large portion of the fight. It will be boxing in there and boxing range in there, but really the fight's going to be Shogun's kicks to the leg and to the body, mixing the overhand and maintaining that kicking distance. So in this fight, I got Mauricio Rua via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in our main event in the middleweight division, Robert Whittaker versus Darren Till. So the former middleweight champion, undisputed middleweight champion, and interim champion, which was later promoted to undisputed champion, Robert Whittaker versus Darren Till. So this one is pretty interesting right here. So a lot of people were high on Robert Whittaker, and I was too. But it's something I always noticed about him, even before he lost Adesanya, and why I picked Adesanya even well before he fought. Like when he first came to UFC, I like guys like Gastelum and Whittaker are going to be easy picking for him. Even though Whittaker, Gastelum ended up being a very hard fight for him. But the reason why I was said what I said is because pretty much what they did when it came to the middleweight division, like they were the shorter, smaller guys at middleweight, especially Gastelum. But either way, they came up from welterweight to middleweight, and their advantages in a lot of these fights were that they were springy, able to get up to their feet, and they were fighting a lot of grappler type fighters, like grapplers that had striking and power and all that. But I don't know, maybe their cardio was waning, or they depended on, they were so used to being able to take people down and hold them down, and they were used to slower fighters. But when they fought these smaller fighters that could get back up to their feet, had much more cardio, much more speed, it became an issue because they couldn't keep them down. They got frustrated because they could pop back up. Either they got tired because they couldn't hold them down, and they would put so much energy in the takedown, or they got frustrated because they put all that into the takedown, and somebody just got right back up. Then on the feet, they were, like I said, faster and more technical and better strikers. Then when they fought, at least in the next case, when they fought the better striker, they lost. So it was in a fight case where they were just getting taken down and then popping back up, then picking apart a grappler. When they fought an actual striker, they lost. Like Gaston got dropped like 9 times. And Whittaker got outclassed, destroyed, and knocked out in like the second or third round. I think it was like second round. Yeah, by Adesanya. So I think it could be a similar case right here. Whereas Whittaker, he's a solid fighter, but it's not like his striking has so many intricacies to it. Like he does like step inside, kicks to the knees, he does some kicks. He'll mix it up high, low, jab, and this. But he doesn't really have the best boxing at all. Like at all. He fights like a point fighting karate guy, and not even the highest level of point fighting karate guy. Like he'll do a lot of jumping, little kicks to the side, little jumping leg kicks, and then he'll do a step in jab, like a little. He has a good jab though, a good jab. Then a lot of other stuff is just jumping and lunge, like jumping hooks, jumping straights. The one like the 2 to a head kick, like on the opposite side, like a 2, then a head kick on the opposite side. Like he's just explosive. He's technical and clean, but not the biggest arsenal. So I see it could play out a lot like the Adesanya fight. I'm not saying it's going to play exactly like it, but it's a case where he's going against a striker who has far more in his arsenal than him. And then Whittaker does have wrestling, but we got to realize that Till has phenomenal takedown defense. I don't think Whittaker's wrestling offense or defense is all that phenomenal. Like his scramble ability and ability at his feet is the most impressive thing about his wrestling and his grappling. It's not his jiu-jitsu or his ability to submit people. It's not his ability to take people down or control them. It's his ability to be able to get taken down and spring back up to his feet, not waste a lot of energy, and his opponents waste a lot of energy, then he picks them apart on the feet. So now this fight where I don't think he'll have really any much success taking Till down. And if he does, I think Till pops back up. Even if he does keep him down, I think he does too much on top of Till, unless it's in the later rounds when Till is tired. So how I see this fight is very much a striking matchup. And I see Till, this fighter, he's longer, more power in his shots. The shorter shots too, like Whittaker, a lot of jumping wide shots, and Till fires down the pipe and got some fast hands and a lot of power, and he's very sharp and very accurate. So you got a guy that's going to be jumping at you versus a guy that's a sharpshooter that's firing right down the line, accurate and heavy-handed. So it's like you're pretty much going to jump into a punch and get knocked out. And that's not going to be like that easy, but I feel like Till is just a better striker than a striking matchup. He's going to be able to beat him to the punch. And also, he's coming from the welterweight division, so he's used to faster fighters. So I think Whittaker's either going to be, man, Whittaker's still fast, even though you come from a lower weight class. It's not like Whittaker's slow. It's like, but you're going to be a little bit more receptive than other middleweights that Whittaker has beat for the most part. Outside of Adesanya, he's probably like the most receptive person that Whittaker has fought in years. Because like I said, other people have been middleweights, dealing with much slower fighters than the 170 fighters. Until reached the pinnacle of welterweight, he just lost in the title fight. But yeah, I'll see this fight going on. I think Till going to walk him into a lot of power punches. And then Whittaker's going to try to do his typical style. He might even try to mix in a takedown, but it's going to get neutralized every time for the most part. Feet just getting outstruck by the more technical striker. And worn down. Then I think in that third round, Till finds that perfect shot with Whittaker's hand down, like reaching for a shot, and he comes right over top, tags him, and puts him out in that third round. So in this fight, I got Darren Till via third round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for the main card of UFC on ESPN 14, Whittaker versus Till. And as always, thanks for watching.